This is a church which I have visited in Armenia. It's called Jorjorian, and it's a 17th century church. It's where Christianity in the 4th century started in Armenia. Not far from here is the Turkish border, and you can see the Turkish military as they come up from underground and come up above. It's a very beautiful church. And Jorjorian, Jor means deep, and it's a deep place where this man wanted to spread Christianity, but the government was about after them. So they put him in this deep cavern, cave. And that's why that's a Jorjorian, deep cave. So that's what that is. This is a Madur. This is the little place where you visit. I want to show you people the difference between Soviet Armenia and the Republic of Armenia now. In 1970, as I visited this little place, a woman was walking by with children, and I had a camera. I asked the woman, "May I take a picture of you?" She said, "Absolutely not," because they were so fearful of the Soviets. So this is an example of the difference in Armenia now. Armenia of that time was under the secular, socialistic, dictatorial country of the Soviet Union. Presently, no one would ever talk like that again. There is the freedom, they vote, and so on. I'm not saying that they don't have any problems, but certainly not the fear during those days. These are some other churches I have visited. You can see the khachkar. In other words, these are the cross stones. There was one place in Armenia that as I went with the bus over against the field, there was at least 1,000 of these things. And these are very, very old. They come back from the 4th, 5th, 6th century. And down here is the mother church in Etchmiadzin. And every year when I went to Etchmiadzin, the village, I would visit the mother church. This is the mother church. And down here, not far from this church, is this beautiful church over here. And this is called Haripsime. And this is a 7th century church. And over here in another city, I visited this church. This is called Sanahin, and this is 11th century church. Over here to here is a rug I brought from Armenia. This is the Armenian alphabet. A, P, K, T, Y, Z, E, T, J, L, etc. And I'm rather, as far as Armenian is concerned, I'm quite versatile with that language. And I just want to point this out, that I went to the factory where these rugs were woven. You see 8-year-old girls who never have a chance to go to school. They sit down 10 hours a day, 6 days a week they're working, and the wages they get are so minimal that the wages they get is hardly sufficient to even feed themselves. I met some women there who were advanced in age that ever since they were little girls, they were weaving rugs like this. I will now show you some other rugs that I brought from Armenia. This is one right here. I was talking about the Armenian alphabet rug, and I'm approaching the end of my talk, which includes the many trips I took to Armenia before my surgery. I made about 14 trips. I mingled very closely with the people. I was not one of those that sat in restaurants with tablecloths with 5 stars. I rubbed shoulders with the people on the bus. I lived in their homes. And some of these things that I show you I find very precious because of the memories I have of the wonderful people I met in Armenia. Down below here is an Armenian rug that takes almost a month's work. The designs are beautiful. Over here, there's another Armenian rug with a completely different design. And if we continue, and this is another little bit larger, beautiful design. Beautiful design. And you can see what makes a hand-woven rug. That when you look in the back, you can see the design as clearly as you see on top. That is a handmade rug. And then over here, if you follow me, I have three more rugs, and there's one over there and one here. And then I want to say something about the last one, this one. When I was ready to buy this rug, I used to prefer a lot of red, and I saw green in there. And I said, I like the red. And the person said, I said, what color is that? Because I know it's green. He said it's Zamrud. Zamrud is the name of my grandmother, my father's mother, who survived the genocide and ended up in Marseille, France. And I bought it instantly as a reminder of my surviving grandmother. Behind you, Zeke, are 2 pictures. This picture is what they call the Averag. These were buildings in Anjar where centuries ago, as the caravans came from the east and going to the west, they passed through Anjar. And over here, if you can see the picture, that is the kind of homes that the French built in Anjar, so that when they brought the people from Egypt after the World War I, and I told you that half of the Armenians were relocated in Anjar here, Lebanon. Those are the homes that the French had built for the Armenians. There were no running water, there were no electricity, there were no toilets. They started from scratch. And if you go to Anjar today, you will find churches, you will find hospitals, you'll find schools, you'll find nice gardens, and people have really made an improvement. And if you go to the neighboring villages, which were Muslim, and you see how dirty and dusty and treeless and without flowers, you can see the difference that Armenians make wherever they go in this world. Just like my father and mother, who brought up 2 sons, and one of the sons became the top man in the United States Navy, and the other man, without boasting too much about myself, at least whatever I did contributed to the welfare of this country. I hope you found my talk interesting and share it with others. Goodbye. I sometimes hesitate to talk about what I'm ready to talk about, because it sounds like I'm sort of bragging about myself. But of all the things that I have done in life that I feel are important are the scholarships that I have established in both Lebanon and in Armenia. As of today, at least 16, 17 students have graduated from university because of my scholarship in Lebanon. All Armenians from that village of Anjar. About 3 years ago, I established another fund for needy youth in Armenia. And because of my surgery, I'm not able to do it myself anymore. But I did it with an organization whose name is the Armenian Education Foundation. And I have been working with them. Potentially every year, I will be sending 24 students to university free. And that includes their books and transportation and housing, $1,000 a year each. So you can imagine that the first year there were 26, the second year there were 52, the third year there were 79, and if I know how to add 26 to 79, whatever that is without my calculating, that's how many potential students I have in Armenia. I want to show you some pictures of the students that I personally gave their tuition directly to the university when I was in better health. However, the other students, I will show you a picture that was sent to me of the students from Armenia. Now down here on the desk, this is a picture of a young lady that I gave scholarship to. She majored in physics. She's from the city of Gyumri in Armenia, and her name is Manik. The minute she got her physics degree, the United States of America swallowed her up, because this is what this country does. They swallow up the people who have degrees in math and science because our own youth avoid math and science. And then these are my two daughters in the same city as this woman is from. And this is the house that is my base. And this is the lady of the house. And for 2 years, I sent my two daughters along with me to visit Armenia. Over here, I have a picture in Lebanon. This young girl in Anjar, Lebanon, is one of my students. This is also the family in Gyumri that I showed you a minute ago. The husband, Hamid, there's my daughter, Camille, and this is his wife. There is handsome me, and this is one of their sons. He's in the Armenian army at the present time as an officer. This is again one of my students from Armenia. His name is Hamayag. This is another student that I sponsor directly in Armenia from Yerevan. His name is Atur, And this is another student that in another city called Spidag. His name is Libari. This is a boy I'm very proud of, the first student I ever sponsored in Armenia. His name is Haig. He majored in engineering, and he's from the village of Spidag. And I can show you other pictures, but I think you can see that if anybody who has heard the message that I have given, instead of spending all the money on Starbucks coffee, instead of spending all that money on expensive restaurants, you could do something like what I have done. I don't spend my money that way. Not that I don't go to restaurants, but I'm careful. And I figure that the little money that I save can go to some deserving young boy and girl in some part of the world. It doesn't have to be Armenia. It could be Mexico. It could be anywhere where there's poverty, that with your little savings, that you could be responsible for that person to graduate from a university. And in my opinion, The benefit of graduating from a university is that that person will be a changed person and perhaps a better person. And that's the way we make the world a better place to live, is when we have more better persons than more irregular persons. Thank you again for listening to my message.